your left, you can see me flying over. Well,
Hello, my name is Arthur, and welcome to I Try Guns So You Don't Have to. Today we're going to be testing out one of my most hated weapons in the game, and that's the VPO-209. Now, it's kind of hard to do flat up and down reviews of weapons in Tarkov, mainly because, half the battle is the weapon, and then the other half is the ammo. Because you could have a 1,000,000 ruble M4, and put the worst ammo in it, and it's still going to be bad. On the other hand, you could have a stock M4 and put the best AP ammo in it and just one-tap people. So today I'm going to be putting the VPO through several different tests. I'm going to do 3 different types of VPOs. One at a level 1, so for early game. The second, as soon as you unlock the flea market, so level 15. And then the third is going to kind of be a late game VPO. It'll, be the most expensive. So yeah. I'm also going to be testing it out with 3 different types of ammo, FMJ, EKO, and then the AP. Now I'm going to warn you, I'm coming into this review with a little bit of bias. I never use this weapon, because anytime I've used anything chambered in the 3.66 round, it's awful. It's horrible. I mean, the guns, statistically speaking, the ammo should be very good, should do a lot of damage. Put it in action and you get quite the opposite. I mean, it's just people eat the rounds, doesn't do much damage at all. I don't know, that's my personal experience. So let's get to it and see what this gun can do. For our first bit of testing, I'm going to start out with the early game VPO, and I'm going to try to use only stuff you can get from traders without trading and just buying it straight off. You can pick the VPO up from Skier level 1 for about 30,000, 28 and some change. Now unfortunately you can't get the 30 round mags until Skier level 2 or Proper level 2, I think. So we're going to be rocking the 10 round mags. Now this shouldn't be too much of a problem because the VPO-209 is only a single shot weapon. Well, I shouldn't say single shot, it's a semi-automatic weapon. So the 10 round mags shouldn't matter too much, it'll be kind of like an SKS, but I will say the less ammo you have in a mag, the less aggressive you can really be. So I did 3 rounds with the VPO-209 with the FMJ rounds in it. I'll say the ergo's alright, it's just like anything else with iron sights. Unfortunately, I did run into Rochelle and his goons. You can see about how well that went here.
Вот он, пидор!
Now, this is kind of what I was talking about before, where with 10 round mags you can't really play aggressively, but also I don't think the FMJ rounds help very much. The gun's recoil itself was very high. The FMJ rounds are supposed to have a pretty high damage stat. It didn't seem that way. Overall, The second and third raids I went through didn't really impress me either. I will say, the FMJ, if you hit somebody in the head, generally they are going to die. But that's kind of with any round. So I'm not gonna, defend this gun saying, oh, well, if your aim was a little bit better and you can hit him in the head, yeah, well, if my aim was a little bit better and I hit him in the head, I could do that with 9mm. Level 3 body armor just eats this round up. The short and medium range on this gun doesn't seem too bad. But I did notice that once you get to long range, the irons on this gun just don't hold up. I also tested out hip firing with this weapon, because generally in Tarkov, for some reason, hip firing is way more accurate and reliable than using iron sights. The hip fire isn't terrible. I'd say it's not the best gun to hip fire that I've ever used. Short range is pretty good, medium range, And then in my third raid, I did run into a situation where, I said before that 10 rounds should be enough for a weapon like this. Well, it's enough until it isn't. In this fight you just saw, I should have been able to win that. If I had a 30 round mag, easily go one. So with the FMJ out of the way, the next 3 raids I used the EKO. Something else I found out is that you can actually buy the single slot 10 round mags, which I'd suggest doing this. The reload speed with these single slots are way better. It takes up less inventory space, and even loading them and unloading them in raid is way faster. There's not a lot of downsides here. For some reason it says that the smaller mag gives you less ergo though, but honestly I didn't notice a difference. So throughout these 3 raids, I didn't really find a difference between the EKO and the FMJ. I mean, my first raid, I did run into Rashala and the goons again, and I killed Rashala. Now, I didn't kill all the goons because, honestly, it was more... I didn't play as aggressive going in. I kind of stayed on the outskirts and shot the goons and Rashala one by one. Now, I didn't kill... I think I killed 1 goon and 1 Rashala. But then again, at the same time, I went against this scav with a pumpkin on his head, and I swear I shot that dude in the head like fucking a million times. Generally, just as I had come into this suspecting, the EKO round is just not good. The 366 round in general. It's kind of rough. You know, if things are wearing no armor at all, yeah, thorax shots and headshots are cool. As soon as you run into anything that is wearing level 3 plus, you're better off going for limbs. But the recoil of this gun makes limb shooting, So let's go ahead and talk about the VPO once you hit level 15 and you can start, getting stuff from the flea market and buying stuff from level 2 traders. So I went ahead and built a VPO with stuff that you can buy at level 2 traders. So, trying to keep it as cheap as possible, trying to keep it as budget as possible. And for the stats, it's okay. I mean, brings it to a 45 ergo, which isn't too bad with a silenced weapon, but the vertical recoil is still at 121. Ooh! I mean, altogether, after buying the gun and all the parts, it only costs 150,000 rubles, so I guess what can you expect? Now, obviously, your ergo could be a little bit different than mine, based on the sight that you run and the mag that you run. I purposely chose the aluminum 30 round mags because they actually give you the smallest ergo penalty. And then I really like the holographic sights, so. Now, as you notice, I did replace every piece of this gun except for the gas block, because you can't. So there's not much original about this gun. Everything's replaced, 150,000. Let's try it out. Oh, also a side note, you can't buy AP ammo until level 30 or mechanic level 3. So I tried this gun out with EKO. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this blew my mind. I mean, I came into this raid thinking that this gun's recoil was going to be absolutely unmanageable and that the ergo wasn't going to be good, but honestly, ergo still seems pretty good, and firing this thing? That is not 100 recoil. I mean, this almost seems like the stats are blatantly wrong. Like, the recoil on this thing is actually pretty good. The 100,000 rubles worth of mods put on this thing really brought this gun to life. I mean, this is such a huge improvement. Now, the only downside is that the round is still really bad. I mean, genuinely, it just doesn't pen anything. So unless you can hit pure headshots and limb shots, good luck. I mean, overall, I hate to say this, but the gun, it's a good gun. It's a very good gun with these cheap mods. The rounds really hold it back, though. If you get a hold of some AP rounds and throw them in this, you might be set mid-game. Next up, we have the late-game VPO that I built. Now, you can still get this at level 15, but honestly, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for all these parts, because you're just not high enough of a level to buy them from the traders yet. Now, still, even on here, there's stuff that I had to buy from the flea, but it wasn't terrible. I did end up getting this gun to a 61 ergo with a 109 vertical, which the ergo, not terrible. It's about the same as my RD. That vertical, stats-wise, really high. 109 is terrible. You generally want to be around 70 or below with these AK styles. But I think that the stats are wrong, because, I mean, that mid-game build, it said 119, and it did not feel like 119. Now, seeing that this is a late game build, around level 30, I'm going to call that late game. You have mostly all your level 3 traders, not all of them. At this point in time, you can buy the AP ammo. So that's why I went ahead and ran. I've never used the AP ammo, so we'll see how it goes. I don't have very high expectations. It says that there's some pretty massive accuracy and recoil pens, and the price of the ammo itself is generally average, 500 per round. You know, once you get into these AP rounds, they can get up to, 2,000, 3,000 a round, so. And it's kind of nice that you can buy the AP round for 366, because a lot of the best ammos you just can't buy. This gun is more expensive than the level 15 gun. I spent around 350,000 on it, and then another 100,000 for the ammo. So, a little expensive, late game like this. It's not the end of the world, though, because you see a lot of M4 builds and, mutant builds out there that, are pushing 1,000,000 rubles, so 450, not bad. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, though. Now, I'll say, I did 2 raids with this VPO and the AP rounds, and oh my god. These rounds are crazy. The amount of damage they do. I mean, it almost felt like I was one-tapping everything. I will say, the round is correct. The recoil is much higher. I mean, even with the lower recoil gun, you can see that it just bounces up in the air every time I pull the trigger. But the accuracy pen? I didn't really notice it. I mean, I was able to kill Sniper Scav, a couple times, 1 shot in the head, and that's all it took. Now, I will say, where it kind of has a downfall is on my second raid, I ended up running into Bloodhounds with some level 6 armor on. That level 6 armor ate. It ate my rounds real good. But, I mean, this is to be expected. That's, when you're shooting at the best armor in the game, or one of the best armors in the game, you can't really expect much more. It just kind of caught me off guard. I'll say, too, in that encounter, both my arms got blacked out, and the ergo of this gun was still really good. It definitely felt a lot better than most of the other AK platforms out there. The more and more I played around with this thing, the accuracy pen that the ammo says that it gives you honestly isn't noticeable at all. The recoil, like I said, noticeable. But this round is an absolute game changer. I mean, it brought this gun to life. I was killing everything I could see. It was working at short, medium, and long range. And you can definitely play more aggressively. I actually managed to take out Rashala and all of his goons. I mean, it wasn't even a struggle either. This was definitely, this did not go the way that I thought it would. I thought I was going to completely shit on this gun. There wasn't going to be anything good about it. And yeah, I was proven wrong. These AP rounds are actually kind of crazy. So overall, I'm going to go over my final thoughts and kind of ratings for this gun and the rounds I used in it. Early game, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. The gun itself, the recoil is so bad. It doesn't seem like the irons are very accurate either. It wasn't very good medium range. It was horrible long range. And yeah, I think I'd rather just use a Mosin, honestly. Now, for mid-game, once you start modding this gun, it's a day and night difference. I mean, I'm going to give the gun itself a 6 out of 10, but unfortunately, even mid-game, if you don't have the AP rounds, those EKO and FMJs they're 0 out of 10s for me. But it is very wild how low recoil you can get this gun to be with just some basic mods on there. So I mean, if you can get some AP ammo and throw it in this thing around level 15, it has the potential to be pretty devastating. And last but not least, late game, I'm going to give this gun a 7 out of 10. And as for the AP rounds, I'm going to give those a 9 out of 10. I mean, I had way more of a blast than I thought I was going to with this thing. I thought I was going to have to go 5 or 6 raids and, have to buy multiple of them because the gun was so bad that I kept dying with it. But no, sure, the AP round had way higher of a recoil, and it did have a little bit of trouble with level 6 armor. But honestly, it was a good time. It wasn't a bad gun at all. I'd still use an M4. And I think if you were confronted in a situation where you're at short or even medium range and somebody has an M4 or an MP7 and you both try to light each other up, I think that's really where you'll see the effect of the high recoil, and you'll probably come out on bottom 90% of the time. But if you're a player that kind of hides in the shadows, plays a little bit slower, and you're shooting from medium far away, this gun could be the gun for you. I mean, it wasn't too terribly expensive, and those AP rounds they hurt so bad. They do so much damage. And the only real downside to them is the recoil. So that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit. Go ahead and go out there and buy a VPO-209 for yourself and, see how it goes. Thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and tell me in the comments what gun I should do next. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye!